Hi Loomers, it's Michelle from Rainbow Loom, and you might be familiar with the Starburst bracelet, but today we'll be making the Triple Starburst bracelet using the Mega Mighty Loom from the Loom Your Life kit available at Target stores. This is a 7-pin wide design, and I would also consider this an advanced bracelet. I will show some tips on how to reduce band breakage as well, but for this tutorial I will be assuming that this is not your first time using one of our looms, so I will be going a little bit faster. In the tech wrap/book strap tutorial, I already went through the contents of the Loom Your Life kit, but I will show you again super quickly. I've already made quite a few projects using this kit, so what you're seeing is definitely less than what you'll get. There are lots of projects you can follow along and learn, and you also get two of our largest looms, the Mega Mighty Loom. They snap together vertically and horizontally. Compared to our normal looms, the pins are closer together to reduce tension on the bands, and these are longer and wider. So if you're following along using the original loom, just keep in mind that your loom has 3 fewer rows of pins. Besides that, you also get 3 hooks, but one of them is double-sided, so it's kind of like 4 hooks. There are also 5 different rubber band colors, and one of them kind of reminds me of the bands from the Pearl collection, if you like those, and there are 4,000 bands. Lastly, this bag here has charms, C-clips, G-clips, plastic needles, beads, and more to help you make and accessorize your projects. So this here is basically all you need to make the Triple Starburst bracelet. You can either use 1 or 2 looms, there are bands, we will be using 2 hooks as well, and then we will also be using 3 C-clips. If you are using 2 looms, you can connect your Mega Mighty looms like this, orient the looms so that the pins are facing the same direction, then find the side with these little crescent hinges on them, and then you can take the second loom and line it up on top of those crescent hinges, then push down. You can see from the side that it's flat. For time's sake though, I will not be using the full loom, I'm just going to be using 1 loom today and connecting with an extension. As for the band count, this depends on which loom you're using, and if you're doing the full bracelet or just making it partially and connecting with an extension. If you are making the full bracelet, I use 13 stars in length, but for an average adult woman's wrist size, I think this is a little bit tight, so I would even do 14 to 16 stars in length if you are making the full bracelet. For the one with an extension that we will be making today, I use 7 stars in length with an extension of around 12 bands in length, but again, this is a little bit tight, so I would probably do around 16 bands in length for the extension. The total number of bands for the full bracelet using 15 stars in length is 449, and the total number of bands for the partial bracelet with an extension of 16 bands is 265, if my math is correct. Let's get started with laying the bands. First, make sure that your loom is oriented such that the pins make a U shape, and you can also see a little arrow with the number 1 and some bands at the bottom of the loom. We're going to lay our border down first. I'm using yellow and placing the bands down from left to right on the first row. Then, we will go up until the 3rd to last pin in the column. We want there to be an odd number of vertically placed bands. Place vertical bands on the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th columns. I have just finished, and this is what my loom looks like. I am also taking this time to push down the bands using the back of my hook. We will complete the border by placing bands from left to right again, starting with where we placed our last vertical bands. After that is done, we can move back to the beginning and start placing the stars. This is the pattern that I did last time for the stars, but this time I'm going to do a kind of checkered pattern. Also for the Starburst bracelet, the order that you place the bands in the stars does kind of matter. There is one band placement that we cannot put at the very bottom, so I would really recommend placing the bands in the same order that I will be doing. Starting from the second pin in the second column, we will place a band upwards to the right and then place the bands in a clockwise formation. Make sure that the bands do not overlap, or else this could lead to a more difficult time when looming the bands later on. We have to make sure that the last band that we are placing is this top vertical band. Then we will continue making stars going horizontally to the right. So again, start each star between the vertical bands by going from the center pin upwards to the right, and then make your way around in a clockwise formation with the last band going straight upwards to where the next star will be. And then for the third star, we are doing the same thing again, so all the stars will be created the same way. Start in the center of the vertical bands, and place the first band going upwards to the right, and then circle around in a clockwise formation with the last band going straight upwards to where the next star will be. To finish off the stars, we will be adding a double loop cap band to the center of each star. Put the band on the back of your hook and twist it once so that there are 2 loops on your hook. Then we can place the double loop band down in the center of each star. I am also using a yellow band just because it's easier to see, but if you're confident enough, you can use the same color as your star. And again, we will do this for every star. So each star is made out of 7 bands. Once that is finished, we will restart this from the next hexagon shape upwards, starting from the left side and then making stars going to the right side of the loom. Don't forget to place the double loop band last on the center of each star. I am going to speed through this, but just continue doing this until you reach the end. This is what my loom looks like. I have just finished placing the stars and their cap bands, and there is just one thing left to do before we start looming. We will be adding 3 cap bands on the topmost part of the loom. Get the same band color as your border onto your hook and twist once so that there are 2 loops of the band, then place the cap bands where I am placing mine. After doing that, we can turn our loom around 180 degrees and start the looming process. Make sure that your loom is oriented such that the pins make an N shape, and there should be a number 2 icon with a hook by it. We will be looming all of the stars first, starting from the bottom left hexagon. We will be looming this bottom vertical band first, and this is the only band in the star that we are looming towards the center. Everything else will be loomed outwards. So stick your hook into the cap band on our border and pull back on it to grab the bottom vertical band of the star using your hook, and just bring it forwards to the center of the star. I am going to do this step for all 3 stars here, just to get them started. When we loom the rest of the bracelet, we will be looming the stars from left to right and bottom to top. Now that that's done, we are going back to the first star on the left side, and we will loom all of the bands from the center going outwards. We will start with the topmost band on the center pin that isn't the band that we just loomed, or our cap band. If you followed exactly how I laid the bands, then your next band to loom should be the band going to the bottom right, and we will loom all of the bands in a clockwise formation. Stick your hook into the pin, pull back on the cap band and the band that we already loomed to reach the next band down and bring it outwards back to itself. Continue doing this for the rest of the star. When looming the stars, you likely won't encounter much band breakage. It's usually when we do the border that the chances of snapping a band are much greater. The last band that we are looming in the star will go back to itself to the bottom left. Now that we have loomed all 6 spikes of the star, we will move on to the next star, which is the one in the middle. Again, we will start from the center of the star and loom the topmost band that is not our cat band or the band that we previously loomed. It should be the one going outwards to the bottom right. Then we can continue looming in a counterclockwise direction, and these bands are loomed from the center outwards. After looming all 6 spikes, we can move on to the third star. You will be looming all of the stars the same way that we have been. Now, moving on to the next row of stars, we will be looming the bottom vertical band upwards towards the center of the star. And you can do this for all 3 stars in the row, but do not move on to the next row until you have finished looming the entirety of the stars in this row. This first band in each star is the only band that we will loom inwards, so all of the other spikes in the star will be loomed outwards. Start with the leftmost star and loom all of the bands outwards in a counterclockwise direction starting from the band in the bottom right. Make sure that you are looming the bands back towards themselves, so you should see a kind of teardrop shape created after looming the band correctly. Now we can move on to the second star in the second row. And this is now our third star. To restart this pattern, loom the bottom vertical band upwards in each star, and then loom the rest of the spikes outwards. I will meet you when I have finished looming all of the stars. The stars have been loomed, and now I'm using the back of my hook to push the bands down so that we have enough room to loom the border bands, which are yellow for me. Start at the beginning of the loom again, and on each of the 3 cat bands, we will loom the 2 border bands outwards. Start with the cat band on the left and loom the bands back to themselves to the left and right. Then, move on to the cat band in the middle and loom the border bands back to themselves. Then do the same to the last cat band, loom the 2 yellow border bands back to themselves. Now we can loom all of the border bands upwards, but please pay attention to this beginning part. You likely won't see as much band breakage or tension on the outermost vertical bands, so we will loom them first. Now the tricky part is the 2 middle vertical bands. Make sure that you have your second hook ready. Reach into the pin and grab the vertical band, then pull it up until it's just off the pin. Move your hook to your non-dominant hand, then get your second hook and circle it around the pin so that the band on our hook can easily move to the pin in front. Let's move on to the next vertical border band. Stick your hook into the pin and pull back on all of the bands except for the bottom border. Then grab the vertical band and pull it up until it's just off the pin. Move your hook to your non-dominant hand, then get your second hook, reach into the pin, and circle it around so that the band on our hook can easily move to the pin in front. Now that we have finished the first set of vertical bands, let's move on to the next row. We will do both of the sides first. The sides shouldn't really give you much trouble, so you can loom them normally, although you can also circle your hook around the pin if you feel like the bands might break or if it's too tight. Then we can move on to our 2 center vertical bands. Stick your hook into the pin, grab the bottom vertical band, and pull it up until it's just off the pin. Move your hook to your non-dominant hand, get a second hook, reach into the pin, and circle it around so that the band on your hook can move to the front. And one last time together, stick your hook into the pin, grab the bottom vertical band, pull it up until it's just off the pin, get your second hook, reach into the pin, and circle it around so that the band on your hook can easily move forwards. I will do the rest of the vertical bands on my own, but I do have another trick for reducing band breakage. So once you have done a little bit, and also only do this if you really trust yourself because you might accidentally take off your whole creation, but you can take off some parts that you have already finished working on, and you can do this pretty gently by using your hook to release some of the bands that we loom from the loom. I have just finished looming all of the vertical border bands, and now we just need to loom these last bands here. Loom the bands from the pins that the vertical border bands are on towards the top point of the star. You will need to use your second hook here again. And now we will add a single chain of 1 or 2 bands to end our creation. I am using 2 bands just for security and also because I will be adding an extension. Stick your hook into the topmost pin and then pull your hook to the side carefully. Place a single band on your hook while holding one side of the band and pull it upwards. Place the other loop on your hook and you can either take a C-clip here or you can add a second band to this chain, which is what I'm doing. And then we can place our C-clip on. Do this for the other 2 pins. Stick your hook into the pin, pull it to the side. Place a band on your hook while holding the other side, and pull the band upwards. Place the other loop on your hook and I am adding another band here as a single chain. Then place your C-clip on. Last one, stick your hook into the pin, pull it to the side, place a band on your hook, and pull it upwards. Place the other loop on your hook and I will add another band as a single chain. Then place your C-clip on. It is now time to remove our creation. Please do this very gently and carefully by using your hook. This is what our creation looks like off the loom. You can probably tell that it's a little bit short though, so let's add an extension next. We are going to be adding 3 single chains here. I'm adding 10 bands in length, so 36 total including the 2 that we already have on. But for an average adult woman's wrist size, I would do around 14 to 16 bands in length, so 48 total. Make sure that your loom is oriented such that the pins make a U shape, and there's also a number 1 with an icon of some bands next to it at the bottom. We will be placing bands going upwards like in a single chain, and we will be doing 3 of these. Then we can flip our loom around 180 degrees, and the icons at the bottom of our loom now should be an arrow with the number 2 on it and a hook. We will place the end of our creation where the C-clips are onto the ends of the 3 single chains. I removed the C-clip from the first single chain, but you can leave them on until you finish looming. This piece is a little bulky, so it does have a tendency to pull the bands upwards off the pin. You can also just loom 1 single chain at a time, so loom 1 and then work on the other 2, but I ended up just doing them all at once. And just loom straight forward until you reach the end of the loom for all 3 single chains. When that is finished, just slip on your 3 C-clips on the ends of our single chains, and then we can remove them from the loom. Connect the 3 C-clips to the other end of the bracelet, and then your bracelet is complete. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to make this Triple Starburst bracelet using the Loom Your Life kit from Target. If you make this, please tag us at this username and use the hashtag Rainbow Loom so that we can see your creations on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We also host weekly giveaways on our Instagram called our Loom Star of the Week contest, where you can win some fun prizes, so be sure to follow us there. In the description box below, you can also find where to purchase your own Rainbow Loom products. We have so many kits available, and there's honestly something for everyone. We are also selling some Rainbow Loom products on our TikTok shop, so if you're in the US, check out our store, which has some exclusive bundles that you can't find anywhere else. And again, thanks for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.